Welcome to Gumbaynggirr country and to the beautiful Coffs Coast. I'm Nikki Williams, the Mayor of the city, and this is our General Manager, Murray Wood. And we're going to take you on a little bit of a journey of where Coffs once was, where we started and where we're moving. From vision to visitor economy couldn't epitomise Coffs any further. We are the only space on New South Wales where the mountains meet the sea, and that's not just a marketing pitch for us. It's something that means that we have a destination where you can be 10 minutes from some of the best beaches in the entire coast of Australia and some of the most beautiful rainforest as well, which is really spectacular. So we are your hosts, and what we want to share with you today is that Coffs Harbour was once a holiday destination or a drive-by destination, but we are walking into a new future. So as you can see, we started out with our iconic big banana. The big banana was the very first big thing in Australia, and what started out as a humble banana on the side of the highway where we used to sell our produce is now expanded into an incredible destination. It's continuing to evolve. We've got water park, it's a destination theme park, and it was once, it is now, I think we saw a $5.8 million investment in a plantation coaster, which is only the second of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere last year, it's very cool. While you're here, please get up there and have a bit of a look. Can I just have a show of hands? Who's had a photo outside the big banana, or who once travelled to Coffs when they were young? Which is fantastic. So the familiarity of Coffs is something that we all know. We've all driven through here. We've all seen the big banana, but we want to show you now a destination where we're headed that is about to be one of the best regional cities in the coast of Australia. So as you can see, our destination has definitely evolved. We have now 81,000 residents. I think we're looking at 100,000 by 2041. And we've got over a $5 billion economy. So we're going to show you exactly how we got there and where we're headed, and we'll hand over to Murray.
Yes, as Nikki alluded to, great position back in the day for that halfway stop. We are, I'll get the kilometres right, 330 kilometres from Brizzy and 480 to Sydney. So it's a really good place for old school tourism, but that's changing as we know. If you've driven past the construction, the $2.2 billion bypass is going to change us whether we like it or not. So how do we take advantage on that? There will be 12 sets of traffic lights, 12 minutes saved on the drive. On this, and there's a great picture there. It is, for us, we're a bit luckier than some communities. It's a ring road more, so you will still be travelling your direction. But how do we make it your choice to come here? So in the theme of this symposium, this year's theme asks about that vision to visitor. That is the question we get now as we are transitioning from what we were, and how do we take advantage of this new future with the bypass. That's an example of our Yarrala facility in Coffs. That's an example, I think, as a new person to the region, of how council itself is backing the re-energisation and renewal of Coffs with, it's a very expensive building, but a very funky building. And I think that shows the confidence that council has in our future, and hopefully bringing people along for the ride as well. Tourism is one of our pillars of our economy. We have a diverse economy. It's not a nice to have industry. Around 1 in 11 local jobs relies on the tourism sector as well. We have around 963 million in annual visitor spend, around 830 tourism businesses. So that small to medium enterprise is really powerful for our economy and so important for our people to have jobs. The connected visitor economy, we have so many things we're on the precipice of. You might have heard of a debate about the jetty foreshores. There will be government decisions around that. Something's going to happen. We have the Great Koala National Park. Again, something's happening. Decisions are being made on that. We have our Solitary Islands Coastal Walk. We're also deep in analysis on the exhibition and convention centre opportunity for that place between Newcastle and Gold Coast. Business event growth, regional development, partnerships. What I'm hopefully explaining there is there's lots of strands of things that are happening. One of the great fun things we get to do in local government, I believe, is facilitate that connection, actually drive them, connect the different visions to actually realise this outcome for our visitor economy more broadly. Now, it all starts with the place itself, and I'm a blow-in, so no one better to talk about the place itself than Nikki.
Thank you, Mario. Always love the Dubbo terminology. Look, I'm going to kind of just ignore my slides now for a while because, look, I love Coffs Harbour. I'm incredibly passionate about Coffs Harbour. And the reason that I ran for mayor is because I saw a Coffs Harbour that was beautiful, that was special, but was really struggling to reach its full potential. So, as we said, we are the only place where the dividing range meets the sea. That's not marketing, that brings something particularly special. It means that no matter where you are in Coffs Harbour, you're 10 minutes from some of, as I said, the best beaches, the most beautiful rainforests, the airport, all of those things are so centralised in Coffs Harbour, and it's what makes it so special. The Solitary Islands Marine Park, it's something that so many people don't know us for yet, and it's something that we're really celebrating. We have some of the most diverse sea anemones, sea creatures, etc., right across the in the world. Actually, we have the most diverse anemones in the world, and what that is because we get the warm temperatures as well as the cold temperatures right here in this spot. So that's something that's unique to us and especially special. Obviously, our rich Gumbaynggirr history. Gumbaynggirr people were known as the sharing people, and that's something that we celebrate here in Coffs. We want to share Coffs Harbour with the world. We want to share Coffs Harbour with as many people as we possibly can. But as was said before, we want people to tread lightly. We want people to respect our space and respect just how beautiful and special this place really is. The place of plenty, and it's not just literal, it's literal, it's not just a slogan. So we were the first eco-certified destination, so that is something that we get to hold our hat to. We've just been recertified as well, which is really spectacular. We've got I think we have the only eco-certified botanic gardens in New South Wales, so that's something really special and unique to us as well. But not just about eco, we also have some fantastic assets. Bonville Golf Course, 7 years in a row nominated as the best golf course in Australia. Now, this is something, if you haven't been there and you are in Coffs, please take the time to just go out there and have a look. It is truly, truly spectacular. We also have obviously, again, our Solitary Islands Marine Park, something that is just, it needs to be seen to be believed. And we've got fantastic diving operators and snorkeling operators that will be able to take you out to experience that. My favourite at the moment is the go-kart track. Now, this is it's tucked away, but it's a really good example of when we get investment from government, we can deliver. A $2.5 million investment, or maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, we now have the best go-karting track in Australia. And what that means for us and for our economy is that just last year alone, we had the final round of the Australian go-karting titles. That brought 400 competitors who all brought with them 3 support staff and crew, plus all of their families. That's thousands of people hitting the Coffs Coast for something that was also televised right around the world. So that puts us on the world stage on the news, and this is where those small amounts of investment, when you do them well and you do them smart, we get a really good impact out of them. Our civic home, and I'm looking at Carrie over there. Every time I think of Urilla, I see Carrie in her beautiful outfits. This is, as Murray said, it's a civic building. It was a very expensive civic building, but what we've done is made the absolute most out of it. We have a gallery that it rivaled right across the country. We had the Relics exhibition not long ago, the only regional centre in Australasia to hold the Relics exhibition. Everywhere else with major cities. We've got an incredible 3-storey library that brings in students and school kids. You know, we've got youth hubs in there and teen sections. There's so much there to celebrate. So a fantastic building that has won multiple architectural awards over the last couple of years. And of course, I hope all of you enjoyed the fruit out there and all of you tasted the blueberries, because we are the home of the blueberry. We export more blueberries from Coffs Harbour than anywhere else in the country. So we've got a fantastic, rich community that is really moving through some pretty incredible times in our agriculture sector. This is a huge industry for us. While it does come, it's a very fast expanding industry that does come with some challenges. We're working really closely to make sure that we realise all of the opportunity and the value add and really celebrate how special this really is. As you know, we are nature's food bowl, and our blueberry industry puts us into being nature's superfood bowl, which is fantastic for our region. And our seafood industry. And not many, we have one of the oldest marinas in the state. Our co-op, our local co-op has won the best seafood in New South Wales for, I think we're up to about 8 years running. So that says something. We had a trade delegation here not that long ago, and we were talking about mahi-mahi is fish just off our coast. Mahi-mahi is the most eaten fish on plates in Australia. So there's some really spectacular things in Coffs Harbour that make us uniquely us, and the industries that we celebrate and we champion, and we want to continue to have that value add from them all the time. Making Coffs discoverable, and again, you'll look at our economic development team down there, and we've got our Coffs Coast Explorer app. I'm going to ask every one of you, get on your phones, download the Coffs Coast Explorer app. It is a fantastic app that's won multiple awards. We know that the way that people experience regions and find regions is evolving all the time. So this is not just a little nice to have. This is something that's generating not just for visitors, but also for community. I've got the app. We find you can do virtual trails. You can build your holiday. You can build a 2-day trip here, a 1-day trip, or a full week-long trip right through this app. It's continuously updated with all of our events, all of our fantastic walks, our national parks walks, so many different things for people to be able to experience right there in their pocket. So this is a fantastic initiative and something that we're incredibly proud of here in Coffs. You can also see that obviously we have 4 markets. We've got the Solitary Islands Aquarium, which again, Pack Bay, where you guys will be going tonight for the awards night. You can, a little trip down the road and you'll be able to see our amazing aquarium there as well, which really celebrates again our marine park. And of course, one of the really key things, we know that times are tough, and we want people to be able to come and enjoy Coffs Harbour without it costing them a fortune as well. We want them spending their money in our businesses, in our small businesses, our restaurants, etc., but being able to also experience Coffs at no cost, so they can take their family out and they can do all of the things. We've got amazing walks. We've got obviously our museum and our gallery is absolutely free. Our library, we've got art trails. There's so many different things to experience. And of course, our beautiful, rich Indian history. So events play such a huge role of what we do here in Coffs. And one of the biggest ones, and I know it was mentioned before by our Destination New South Wales team, is our Curry Fest. I think we're I want to say 20 years in the running, but I could be wrong there. But the Curry Fest, it evolves year after year, and what it's about is celebrating our rich Indian history. We were the first town in Australia to have a Indian temple, which is something that we really celebrate, and it's something that we love for people to be able to go and see. And you used to drive past it when you went past Woolgoolga, but it's bypassed now. But I suggest everybody go and have a bit of a look. But we've got again fantastic event partners that really, really do pull out all of the stops to make our beautiful streets colourful, especially our villages. They're so vibrant and they're so beautiful, and we've got fantastic people that really champion those spaces to support business, support culture, but also just to support a really vibrant Coffs Harbour. You'll see here, this is our, we are part of the running festival as well. I think we're actually the first race on the National Running Festival. So we get to run through our beautiful Creek Walk, which is another really spectacular space in Coffs. And our running festival just continues to evolve year after year. Tigger, I think she's in the room. The wonderful Tigger Cross is over here, who runs our wildlife sanctuary. What you see there is we're actually releasing turtles. And that is always such a much loved event that happens in Coffs. And, you know, Tigger gets lots of businesses behind her to sponsor her. It costs an absolute fortune to protect these turtles, and she does an absolutely incredible job. So thank you for what you do, Tig. And look, it's also all about community. It's not just about visitors. And you'll see here we made a world record attempt for the world's largest banana. In human form, we did win the attempt, which is fantastic. But I think this really speaks to community about, I think we're up to, what have we got? 93% of our residents class Coffs as a great place to visit. Now, that doesn't just happen by chance. There's a lot of work we're doing in that space to build community connection, and we want to see that everybody that lives here are our biggest advocates. So we've generated a My Coffs campaign as well, and what that means is we're celebrating, it's all about the people and the places that make Coffs Harbour not just a city but our home. So that's another campaign that we're working on at the moment. So we can bring community, we want them connected. We know that often when times get tough, community can start to get a little bit angsty, so especially when you're in the government world. But this is something that we are making a deliberate attempt so that every single person that lives here puts their hand up and celebrates Coffs and becomes one of our biggest champions. And of course, visitor ready means that we've got businesses in the room. So our wonderful ECDev team, we hold community champion breakfasts. Now, I think this is sort of not often done in local government, and we do really spend a huge amount of time working with our small businesses and building connections with them. So what we do is we bring in all of our partners, and we'll go to a different business throughout the year, once every 3 months, and we get everybody in a room. We have different speakers, different themes. It's about building connection, but also showing those businesses that as a council, we're here to support you. We want to support small business. We know how important that they are. We want to make sure that everybody feels like no matter what's going on, they've got people behind them that have their back and that really want to champion them. So this is about growth, and it's about learning, and it's about connecting with each other. And we're not against each other. We're all a team. We're all walking forward in the same space. I'm going to hand back over to the boss.
So this part we're going to talk about is our delivery. So it's really important that a part of building trust is when you back Coffs, whether it's assistance, whether it's partnerships, we know how to deliver. And that's a key feature of ongoing success, keeping that trust. What you can see there, when we build assets, it's looking with the future in mind. That's a big sporting precinct, and I'll talk a little bit more about the later on, the multiple purpose of use. But for example, there's around $48 million a year driven by these events, these 15 signature events that we bring and we target. We've got a great team that do that. Now, there's a very skinny pipeline back to council itself in terms of getting that income back. So there's significant strategic investments to actually help our accommodation providers, restaurants, other local businesses, and also a bit of community pride. When we get some of those major events like a BBL, it's not necessarily about the visitation that drives, but it's that community esteem as well. So that's a significant investment and I guess a strategic responsibility that we take seriously. Our infrastructure, just to that point in terms of community, I'm not sure what happened there. It does a double duty in terms of we build it for our residents, but it's got to be with that higher level purpose in mind as well. So we've only got so much money to spend, so how do we maximise that flexibility? We've talked about Yarrowla Place, opened by the Prime Minister in 2023. Nikki, you've talked about the relics, the only place in regional that it came to, and that was really significant. Yeah, you did. I was wincing when you said that. But it brought people from Queensland, Sydney as well, but it drove a whole lot of different visitation. And what I love about that, we talked about it being a civic space, but it was really strategic to get different types of people into a museum and an art space to actually experience that. Therefore, it makes them more comfortable. Next time we have an event, that will get them more at ease at coming and visiting as well. So even what we do inside these spaces and assets is important in terms of driving visitation. The other one is Woolgoolga Sports Complex. It's in Woolgoolga, a magnificent indoor sports centre. But I think we were talking about the Sikh weddings. If you ever saw the Greek wedding movie, so think of Sikh weddings, takes that up another series of notches. But it gets used for that as well. And we've also had, and I'll say, the events conference there as well. So we can pivot this essential sporting infrastructure, very cool for our local residents, but pivot it to be used for something that drives visitation as well. So again, our best infrastructure does this double duty of how can we use it flexibly, meet the needs of our community, but actually drive other parts strategically of our economy. Business events is all part of our appeal. And that is a video that Nicole wants me to pause so she can play the video.
I'm moving to the sun. I did it all the time. I'm going to the sun. I'm so bad at it done. I'm moving for the sun. I did it all the time. I'm going to the sun. I'm so bad at it done.
Just a taste of what you would get up to here. What you saw before there is also, that was the Japanese rugby team. I think they're under 23s. Well, we've actually set ourselves up to be the Japanese rugby home away from home. So when they're coming in Australia, and you heard CEO Destination New South Wales talk about the World's Cup. So we want to be their base. So we've developed that relation, built that trust. What else do you need to set up? And then we're going to have the Women's World Cup for rugby coming after, and that's going to have an even greater regional focus. So yes, great for us at the moment to watch some world-class sport, get them to introduce what we do in Coffs. They're great fun people, but then this other strategic outcome is going to be potentially, probably not speaking out of school, but dare to dream, can we host part of the Women's World Cup of rugby right here in Coffs? So that's the strategic aim. No pressure, Sharon. Now I can talk about business events. Strong business events destination like we are but a business event today. So how do we maximise that? When there's the headwinds on other parts of the economy, the visitor experience for more domestic tourists, residents, business has a bit more stability about it. People are still wanting to meet and get together and learn and be better. So it's year-round, midweek, high-yield visitation. The average delegate, the numbers I've got here, around $433 a day. So look forward to you spending that in Coffs while you're here. About 30% goes straight to accommodation. You heard the numbers from Karen this morning about the scale of the business event. We've got the Australian Children's Content Summit here kicking off in August. I was talking last night. That's a big deal in terms of people who are focused, and we saw the success of Blue. You get it right, you get to be global in that space. So we actually get content creators coming here as a place where they can strategically work on next steps and build this industry. It's a tough industry, but how cool that we've actually had a homegrown event that's growing in scale each year on year. Coming back for its fourth year, I believe. We've got 10 large outdoor event spaces, 20 indoor event spaces, back to that point of build your infrastructure. It's one of the most misquoted lines ever from a movie, build it and they will come. Well, that's a path to incompetence if you just build something, expect something, but actually working out your niche, targeting that niche and building it the right way as people need it to be is a much more strategic way. So for Coffs, it's not whether we can host major business events, we already do. How much more value can New South Wales unlock by investing in regional infrastructure that catches up with regional demand? We know there's demand here. Can we take us to the next level in partnership with government and the private sector for that strategic investment?
And can I just quickly step in there for 1 second? The reason why we are so strong on pitching for business events is we've always been a sports town. We're an events town. We've got a fantastic stadium. We do a huge amount on weekends. What we really want to look at, we know that through the week, that's where we've got a gap. And that's what we're continuously doing, whether it be in our stadium calendar, whether it be in any area of our city, is where are the gaps and how do we fill them? So we know that business events are usually through the week. We know that we've already got fantastic infrastructure here, but we also know that we can do it better. And that's why, Michael, I'm looking at you. That's why we're pitching that we should, that's where we need to evolve, is those business events. Our stadium is full. We do that really well. But how can we improve and how can we make sure we're getting that spend through the week for all of our businesses and getting more visitors here through the week?
I can hand to you. You got the next bit.
Oh, this is my favourite part. The Jetty Foreshore. So, the Jetty Foreshore is an interesting story, and I'll tell you a little bit. It's actually a personal story for me. So, my parents actually used to own a service station and a freighting yard on the Jetty Foreshore behind the fence what's sitting there idle at the moment. And 40 years ago, the MP of the day came to us and said, look, you guys, so it was backed onto the train line. So that's when freight used to come by train, and you'd step out of their building onto the train and get it back over. And the government came to us and said, you guys have got to move because we're going to develop this space. Now, we're 12 plans later and 40 years later, and we're still sitting there. We've now got a new plan. It's a fantastic plan. It was started by the last government. It was, thank goodness, continued by this government, and we're waiting at sitting in planning at the moment. We're waiting on a rezoning. But it's more than just bricks and mortar. This is something that every beautiful city needs to have a beautiful commerce area on the water. We're a coastal city. We want to be able to see a space that everybody can enjoy, whether it be families, whether it be restaurants and those that want to go out and eat, nighttime economy, all of the different things. We need a reason for people to come here, and the Jetty Foreshore is it. It will be an absolutely spectacular space, and it's been done extremely sensitively as well. We've got a really rich culture there. We've got lots of opportunity, and we are championing that every step of the way, and we can't wait to see that finally come to fruition, because there is just it's the one opportunity that we're missing here in Coffs, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that finally move itself forward. You can also see here you've got the beautiful Muttonbird Island. So if you haven't been over there, it's a steep hill. It's very steep, but it is something that is spectacular, and it's worth 6 a.m. It's basically peak hour. Everybody in Coffs Harbour is walking up and over that, and it is a really special spot. Murray, it looks like I'm handing back to you.
On that, with the Solitary Islands Walk, council's resolved what's next for the Solitary Islands Walk. What does it look like in 25 years? So again, the luxury, our role in local perhaps is better, is to have that ability to look forward. Where do we want to be in 25 years? So we can set the light on the hill, and how do we gradually, grants, normally you don't get huge grants that let you finish things like a Solitary Islands Walk between Woolgoolga and Sawtell. And Nikki, that was a dominant theme from our feedback on community, our budget. We want a much better connectivity and upgrade to that experience between Woolgoolga and Sawtell. It goes much further. But that's a body of work we're going to do in partnership with the regional park, national parks. We own part, there's a regional park. And again, set the strategy, then we can keep aiming and improving it year on year. That's that strategic focus on assets. We've got something big on the way. I touched on it before, the Great Koala National Park. So Glenn here with the team, it's live, it's happening, working out what the future is going to be and how we can maximise these opportunities. For some people, it's a big challenge. Certainly industry change is a challenge, but then how do we actually leverage that to flip that into an ongoing opportunity that delivers for our community? There's Matt. I saw you up front somewhere, Matt. There you go. Got the action shot there. He only did that for about 5 seconds, then he pulled up. So the outdoor adventure, the outdoor experiences, guiding through, you can actually, I think the beauty is you can come to a town and you can do your outdoor, and then you can come back to your hotel and have a fancy drink at night. We've got something offer, but you can spend as much time as you like in the hinterland or on the coast as well, doing your adventure and outdoor tourism as well. In that hinterland, we have our villages, Karamba, Nana Glen, Yulong, Loanna, etc. 20 minutes away from the CBD, but such a different landscape and a different vibe as well. I mean, that Glenray Bakery, no, it's not RLJ, but very cool to check out the quality of that stuff there. So all these little experiences, somewhat micro experiences, how do we build them together to be a coherent product for visitors to our community? So the Great Koala National Park's not just a park story, it's how we develop the experience story, a business development story that we're on the precipice of now, when we have so many partners that we're going to have to coordinate and work with. We had that announcement this morning of the $1 million to the JO. That's about how do we do this transition well. Then we've talked about the Room to Grow business events. This is a concept of what an exhibition centre could look like in Coffs Harbour. the Destination North Coast did a wonderful feasibility study, high level, about there's a need here, there's a gap between Newey and the Gold Coast. Where is it going to fit? Obviously, we're parochial. We want to help New South Wales by making it happen in Coffs Coast. But the idea is you just don't sit and put your hand out. You've got to do some work and work on your site analysis and detail to actually prove it up on your patch. So that takes discipline from us to not just wait for the strategic opportunity. We're doing a body of analysis now. And again, sometimes you do analysis, you've got to be accepting that the fact that sometimes the answer is no, it's not going to fit. So that's that open-mindedness to when you invest in analysis to prove up, because when you go to government, you've got to make it stack up. So we've proven the demand. The next chapter is the infrastructure to meet that demand. Further on these, we talked about, I think we touched on airports. We've got Ballina, we've got Coffs. I think Craig's still in the room. And the visitor economy, it talks to all things. So the government's about the seats on airports, new routes. How do we make that happen? We've got rooms is also a focus, the accommodation sector. I'm lucky that I get to, as in my role, hear from people at their earliest thinking around accommodation. We're on the precipice of some good things. I keep saying, you called me out on this one, I keep saying if Trumpy would stop blowing up the world, we'd have a lot more certainty. But the beauty is when things are on a downturn, that's the time to do your planning and get your DA, get everything done so that when the things flip and we have certainty in our construction costs, that means we can kick. So now's a good time to actually do that, even from the private sector talking. Now's the time to get all that stuff, line up your ducks in a row to be ready for the opportunity. And then jobs. Our economy here is built on small business. Investment here in Coffs doesn't actually go off to the big machine somewhere offshore. It actually builds our small business and medium-sized business sector as well. So it's about, for us, that takes a lot of facilitation. We don't need to own all the solutions. I think the power of council, and certainly the City of Coffs Harbour, is that setting a direction, chasing funding, helping people and connecting the dots for our business community and our community more broadly as well. As Nikki said, we're on the precipice of growth. We have a lot of growth happening here. We're marching our way very quickly to 100,000 people. So how do we accommodate, grow the jobs for our community, but then also the accommodation and the services that our visitors need as well? It's over to you.
Okay, so here we are. So we, as everybody can see, we are the gateway to the Mid-North Coast. That's who we want to be. So we are one of the biggest LGAs across the Mid-North Coast. We've got the airport, we've got fantastic partners, and we're doing incredible work with all of our neighbours, building really strong relationships because we are all stronger together. We're not a city that wants to keep everything to ourselves. We know that people come here, they experience here, and they branch out into so many different experiences, whether it be the Clarence, Glenray, some of those western villages that are over the border, whether it be Bellingen, whether it be up in Armidale as well. There is such a huge story to tell. And I think I said it in my opening speech, the Mid-North Coast is undercooked for how beautiful it is. It really is. There is so much opportunity, but it's going to take all of us getting in a room, all of us working together, not competing against each other as LGAs, and really supporting our differences and working out, okay, what parts of each LGA shine and how do we complement each other? I think we're up to the pitch point, but just before we get there, I just want to touch a little bit on the bypass and what that means for Coffs Harbour, because for 40 years, we've been waiting for a bypass. And if anybody here has driven through Coffs in particularly the last 5 years, you remember Coffs as the shitty place with too many traffic lights. And it genuinely is. You know, we don't want to be the Macca's stop. We don't want to be the place that people grit their teeth and think, oh, we've had a great run down the highway and now we've got to stop in Coffs, because it does. It leaves, you know, people might stop over for a night because we are halfway between, obviously, Sydney and Brisbane, but we don't want to leave a bad taste in people's mouths. So what this is for us, this is an opportunity for us to change the way that people experience our city. We're not just going to be the stopover, we're a destination in itself. But we're also really lucky that it is more a ring road. It's not necessarily just a bypass. So you don't have to travel 15 minutes to get into Coffs Harbour. You'll literally still come in one end and just have an easy access around the other end. So that supports us in other ways as well. But one thing that no one else would know, because you haven't actually been up on the bypass, I have, and a few of us have, when you come out, I had a conversation last night with someone, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but we were talking about when, I think it was Sharon, the Mayor of Ballina, and before that they were bypassed. And what happens is when people only experience your city as the Pacific Highway, they don't even realise you're a coastal city. All they experience is those, often run-down buildings on the edge of the highway, lots of traffic lights. You're just a destination to try and get through. Whereas now what you'll be able to see is when you come out of the bypass and you just pop out of the top tunnel, is you literally get the most spectacular view of our city. So it's an opportunity, it's a once in a generation opportunity. It's an opportunity that I'm really excited that I get to be a part of. And even though, sometimes people think with change there's a little bit of angst, will people bypass us? No, they won't, because we are doing absolutely everything. We've got a fantastic committee. We've got fantastic councillors that are championing this, and we've got fantastic business owners that are on that committee that are making sure that we are absolutely bypass ready for the minute that bypass opens, and we're ready to capitalise on all of the opportunities that brings.
Cool. The partnerships is really critical for us as well. So we have the place, we've got the people, industry, infrastructure is coming, as we just talked about there, and that capability. So we're asking people to take a chance. I think it's not a chance. It's actually be a partner with us to deliver this new vision for Coffs Harbour as a destination. And I think it's part of what we can do to help business be ready as possible with how to manage algorithms, how to do that, how do we help our business be as ready as possible. So again, like I say, we're more a ring road than a bypass from a long way. So how do we help them understand that choice? 4 minutes to the beach or 4 hours to Brisbane. So how do we help them understand these are great spots to spot, recreate, and then kick on with your journey as well? I think you're up next.
I'll just touch on partnerships as well, because it is something that I will humbly say that we do very well. Maybe it's something that we have worked really hard on in the last 2 years to be known as a city that is not always asking. We're willing to come to the table, and we're continuously wanting to partner. I know Michael is here with Destination North Coast. We've partnered joining the JO, and the way that we work with all of our regional LGAs, national parks over there. I know how well, we partner with the regional park, and also with our businesses. Like, I have a look at some of the businesses in the room, our chambers of commerce, all of those different spaces. It's something that we really pride ourselves on, and being ones that we've all got an open door policy, and we really want to see those partnerships strengthened. We've built really great relationships with both sides of government, which is fantastic for us. And I will just highlight, and he's not in the room, and there's probably no one here that can take it back to him, but Minister Camper has probably been one of the important partners with me from the day that I was elected. He's been fantastic for me and done some brilliant work for us here in Coffs. So those partnerships have definitely taken us a long way. But I guess that's really it for us. I hope that you've seen a little bit of the passion that we've seen for Coffs, and a little bit of the opportunity that we have here in Coffs, and some of the uniqueness that really does make us uniquely us. I think particularly being what people don't see about us, and the opportunities, the superfood bowl, garlic, ginger, blueberries, raspberries. We've got some of the absolute best in the country. We're some of the biggest exporters in the country, our seafood industry. I hope that everyone, the food that you'll eat tonight, the food that you'll eat at lunch, we tried to get as much local produce as we can, because we are genuinely so proud of it. Well, Michael's over there. You can't talk about Coffs Harbour without the big banana. So I hope nobody's allowed to leave here without a photo in front of the big banana, or without downloading our Coffs Coast Explorer app. But I also just want to say, while you're here, please get out and enjoy our beautiful city. Don't just stay in the hotels that you're in. There is so much to experience. We'd love to see you in our civic building. We'd love to see you on our beaches, and of course, open your wallets. Our small businesses would definitely love to see you as well. So thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your conference.